Speaking of things I've been watching,
Yep.
it's not a TV show or a movie or an anime.
Ooh, okay.
I was watching a particular live stream.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay.
I know what you're gonna mention.
Okay.
Women always say men don't have feelings. Well, I definitely had feelings when I was watching Coco's graduation live stream.
Dude, that was fucking
couple of days.
insane, man.
That was nuts. I think I saw like on the news that I think it was like internet news. I mean, not the TV news. I saw on the internet news that I think that ended up being it's the 7th highest
Live stream of all time. Yeah, I saw that as well.
I think she capped at 480,000 people watching her live.
Yeah.
Which is
During the
nuts.
concert bit, it was like 480,000. I was kind of wondering if it was going to break 500.
I was like, hit 500,
come on,
hit 500,
come on.
go on, $500,000.
You can do it, Sims. Come on. I believe in you.
It was nuts because I was watching that live and there's some parts the chat was going so fast that it was literally lagging the stream.
Yeah, I saw.
I was it was crazy.
I was just occasionally popping in and just seeing what was going on.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't care much about like the whole like idol side of things because I've never really cared about the whole Hololive idol side of things or whatever. But like, there were parts where I was just like getting a little emotional.
Honestly, same. Because I couldn't watch it live because we were doing something at the time. But I watched like the recording afterwards, and honestly, it was like I'm as I've said, I watched less VTubers now than I did last year. But man, it was getting emotional at some points, man. Holy shit! But because I honestly think this is an end of an era for Hololive because I think Hololive owes Coco so fucking much. Oh yeah, right? Because she is basically the sole reason why Hololive is as big internationally. She's basically the reason why Hololive English exists, right?
Exactly.
And I feel like, to me, it was like the end of an era for Hololive because, you know, she's done so much for the company and now she's just not there anymore. And, you know, I feel like she did move out of her own accord, which is happy that no big, like, controversy happened to make her move.
It's fully respectable that she was just like, I kind of just don't want to be here anymore for whatever reason. See you later.
Which just made it even more bittersweet because I'm happy that she made the decision to move on and do whatever she wants to do now. But you know, it is.
And she went out with a fucking bang.
Holy shit.
Like I saw those super chats, bro. It was I don't want to think about how much money she made from that.
If you're not enjoying it, go out on top, right?
Yeah.
And then also, I mean, she clearly enjoys doing other stuff on the side.
Yeah.
So why not, right? Like, and you can bring a massive audience over with you, especially if you do a show like that. Like, people, of course, going to check out what you're doing next. So it was a brilliant idea as well. Like,
exactly.
Because I mean, I think honestly, Coco, in terms of just like looking at each talent as content creators, I do think she is genuinely one of the most talented content creators in Hololive, and that's just. And I mean, if she wasn't, then she wouldn't have had the success that she did internationally. I think.
Also, can I say, massive brain idea that she pre-recorded like the interview sections and put English subtitles on it. I was like, that is so gigabrain.
Because I was like, wait, how are they subtitling this at first? I was like, whoa, is there just like a
subtitle? What is a madman?
The JoJo event panel people are like, how are they doing this? How is this? That's just impossible.
At first, I just thought that was like some fucking light speed translator at the back going. It's like, I got this, boys. I got this.
Yeah, I was like, that's so gigabrain because she clearly knows how. Like, I reckon her international fan base was just as big as the Japanese fan base.
Yeah,
right? So it's like, why not get both of them in at the same time? Right?
Yeah,
like, so gigabrain.
I mean, I feel like that's why the live stream was partly how it broke so many records, right? It's just because it wasn't just the Japanese audience watching it. I mean, it wasn't only just going to be the Japanese audience watching it anyway, but there was always going to be a big part of the audience that just didn't get what was going on. And I was like, should I cry now? Is it or is
Am I crying?
Is it the goodbye time? No,
right now.
It's okay. But no, like thanks to the subtitles, everyone could get involved in it. So it was just like a 5-head move.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
big sad.
I mean, what did you think of it, Connor?
I didn't really watch it. I mean, I was watching it occasionally. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Yeah. It was all right. I mean, again, like I've mentioned before, I don't really I'm not like a massive simp of any of them. I don't know if that's a derogatory term. I don't particularly
banned on Twitch.
I don't particularly watch a lot of them. I know people are like, well, will you collab with them? But yeah, it's different though.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like, all right. I mean, it was cool. Like it was an epic show from what I saw. Epic. Sorry, I can't say that word without being sarcastic.
Epic.
It was clearly just an amazing production, and props to the team, man. It was. I mean, if you're going to go out, why not fucking do it like that? You know, hell yeah, like
fucking hell.
Because like I feel like wait, what was I going to say again? I feel like they really did put on a good show, and it was going out with a bang. And if there was a way that she was going to go out, this was the best way to go out.
Yeah.
I completely agree with her creatively, and I hope the best for her future endeavors, because I would choose the same thing. I would choose to go out with a bang rather than just like fizzle out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you're not happy with what you're doing, right? Like it's inevitable that it's gonna happen. So yeah, it was the right move, I think.
It just really now puts into perspective. I'm just like, who's the next one that's gonna go? If there is gonna be another one, that's gonna go, right?
It's an interesting thing because I feel that because it was so new and so fresh, the idea of people are gonna leave, it was so odd, right? But I guess. They can't always just people joining, right? It's going to get to a point where there's going to be as many people leaving as there is joining.
I do, yeah, but
has to be.
That's the thing, right? It's like I do wonder because Coco was the first Hololive talent to leave Hololive on her own accord, right? Like I'm just thinking, like I guess
sure of we know, right?
Yeah, that we know of. But like I'm sure, like her announcing that she was going to leave probably planted in some of the other talents' heads, being like, oh, you can just leave.
You can do that.
You can leave.
You can just quit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think. The most interesting thing for me personally about VTubers is like the politics of it all.
Oh yeah.
It seems like there is like a lot of rules.
Especially on the JP side.
Yeah, and it's just really entertaining watching it because everyone's like, no, you can't turn left. You have to turn right.
Yeah,
and everyone's like freaking out. And it's really it's
like thousands of people backseating you.
It's very fun watching this kind of stuff, and the rules and all the politics. It's like people turn anime into Game of Thrones sometimes. YouTubers, and it's hella exciting. I love watching it. I'm like a spectator, in that sense. And I think that this does ask the question of, is this going to be a normal thing? How will it be dealt with? What impact will this have on VTubing as a whole? Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm going to be watching on the sidelines, having a great time.
Because recently there's been a couple of like bigger Nijisanji VTubers as well that have like left on their own accord, and it's like I feel it's like slowly starting to become a thing of like just especially the bigger creators kind of realizing that if I stay in a this kind of like agency, then I'm kind of limited to what I can do.
You can only be a VTuber, right?
And it's only up until they get to a certain point that they realize like, if I just leave, I have so many more opportunities that I can try out for myself without being like restricted.
I mean, it's like a catch-22, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like without saying anything too private, like I feel like Coco was one of the few who had established herself like outside, and I feel like especially with how big she is, she can do whatever the hell she wants, and be able to establish herself. But I feel like especially with some Hololive VTubers, they're only known for being Hololive VTubers. True. Right? Yeah. And it's like a catch-22 because they could leave whenever they want, but if they leave, what would they be saying goodbye to? They basically have to like build themselves up from the ground up again. Yeah. And with the VTubing scene being how it is, they can't really build up any other kind of thing that they do outside of Hololive, right? Because
they kind of just be like typecasted, right?
It's like it's the secrecy behind the VTubing, and there is a reason for it. But at the same time, if there is a VTuber who does want to talk about their other lives, then they just can't with the platform they have, and they're just going to be known as this Hololive VTuber rather than anything else they may potentially want to be.
Which is why if we saw someone leave a VTuber agency to become another VTuber, I'd feel like that's like the wrong idea.
Yeah.
Like the whole point is to expand, and do something else. Yeah. Otherwise, why did you leave? Right?
Yeah. You just made it harder on yourself, right?
Right. And also like, obviously Hololive is big, and there's there's other agencies, and there's just, oh my God, there's fucking so many now.
Yeah.
What I find interesting now as a content creator is that in YouTube and Twitch there's hierarchies, right, of like your size, right, and like with YouTube and Twitch where you're kind of on your own, you kind of just do your own thing, you do what you want. If you're with an agency, there's kind of expectations of you to perform or do anything, right? Yeah. So when you start bringing in talent and you keep bringing in talent, what happens when you have too many people and the market is oversaturated and it's partially your agency, right?
Yeah.
So what if you have too many VTubers and maybe some of the VTubers that aren't doing too well, struggling a little bit? How do you handle that? Like, what do you do? do you like just leave it?
You just
see now that because that's where I'm like interested in seeing how they handle that, because that'll really show what their mindset is on how to handle situations.
Well, because I think currently Hololive now has like less than 30, no, around 30, I'd say. If you include,
I think there's more than that, right?
Actually, if you include EN and IN and ID and the
probably
whole
more languages in future.
Let's say let's guess like probably around like less than 50, I reckon, which is still a lot.
Right.
But then you have agencies like Niji Sanji that have literally hundreds.
Right.
Of
and
VTubers.
like, if you're an agency where you're like, okay, if we want to keep bringing in new talent, we got to hire more staff. We can't afford to do it because not everyone's pulling in the same numbers. Not everyone can be the number one, obviously. What do? Do you start cutting off talent? If so, how does that look publicly, right? Like,
I mean, I feel like that's a lose-lose, right? Because you can't just cut off talent, because no matter what, if you cut talent off, their fan base is gonna fucking make a lot of noise, and you don't come out looking good at all.
No.
And
I guess I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't think
there's just so many problems and challenges that I think will arise. Because we haven't seen them yet, because it's so new.
Yeah.
But I think down the line we're going to be coming into these things, and I'm just interested to see how the fan bases will handle all these things coming up, because they're going to happen at some point. Right?
Yeah, I mean, right now the VTubing scene is kind of like the Wild West.
Yeah, it is.
It's the new thing, and it's just starting to establish itself now. Like it's only getting to the point now where we had the massive explosion in 2020, and now we're kind of seeing what the VTubing scene, is going to be really like in 2021 and above. Because right now Coco leaving, that's a massive creator on the platform, and arguably she, for the longest time, she was the face of Hololive, especially like early 2020. She was
internationally,
she was the face, and now it's kind of like it's becoming a new kind of scene now. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how the scene develops.
There's just so many interesting things that happen and challenges that will come up in that kind of space as opposed to normal YouTubing and Twitch. That because we live this job, right? So I'm just fascinated by how a company would deal or how it would tackle some of those challenges.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see.
I don't know. That's what I find most interesting about it. It's I just love seeing the scene. It's such an interest. It's like, 'cause this is the first time and probably God knows when we'll see this again, where a whole kind of genre has just popped up in very quickly and explodes and is very self-contained. Because normally everything
is it self-contained.
I think it's the most self-contained we've seen out of any genre online.
Oh, I think Hololive is obviously definitely very self-contained by design, but I feel like VTubing as a whole is now kind of like, especially with the amount of VTubers that have popped up on Twitch and every other streaming platform.
Yeah, now it's not so much, but I guess it was interesting at the time. I think it's everyone's just doing everything now, but
I think it's still self-contained though, in a sense, because you have a lot more like individual VTubers now doing things with other individual VTubers and VTubers in agencies and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if you yourself also aren't a VTuber, it's very difficult to do anything with those kinds of people. More difficult than I'd say, like if I wanted to collab with like another YouTuber.
I don't know. I think it's just a humor thing, really. If you have the same kind of content-ish aimed at the same audience kind of thing, it's doable, I think. I don't know. Yeah.